Okay, good to see you. Let me go ahead and admit in a couple of more people. And I am going to share my screen so we can get into the Let's go back. Let's come here and let's go here. Okay, let's share the screen. Here we go. Bam. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your instructor, your host, Mrs. M. Let me move this up here so I can let everyone in. And let me go ahead and share the screen and we will get started. And like I said, we've got two things I'm going to share with you today that's going to help you along with winning some government contracts. We focus on what? 2 weeks to 90 days after anything we complete. So 2 weeks to 90 days is what we focus on. And just know the average is 18 months, somewhere between 12 months to 18 months to 36 months is the average if you are asking people what they are doing to win. So we're going to talk about one of my favorite tricks that I used. And then there's the Army is actually looking. I mean, like they're looking, searching. One particular place that's right out here where I am, which is in the DMV area, they are looking. I'm going to give you the information, the link, and share all that with you in just a couple of minutes. So let's get started. Now, this is our Lunch and Learn, and it's all about what we need to do to focus on winning. Hi, Gail. Good afternoon. To focus on winning government contracts. So let's see what we need to do. So we want to focus on three main areas. Three is what we want to really look at. And the three main areas I always talk about are disaster relief, middleman, and reselling. Those are our favorite. They're the easier to win. So the government spent over $158 billion in 2023 with small businesses. The actual overall budget is $1 trillion. Now, you may ask yourself, why would the government use you with no previous experience, or if you have a previous experience, a small amount, instead of going out to do what they call open and full competition? Open and full competition is when they go out and put out solicitations for you to fill in and bid, whether it's an RFQ, request for quote, an RFP, request for proposal. And it can be an RFI, request for information. Now, the RFI can or cannot end up being a actual proposal, but a lot of times they will send out an RFI. So there's a lot of R's there: RFQ, RFI, RFP, all of those. So we're going to talk about why does the government rather work with you without going through those more competitive methods. And it's really easy to understand. And then you'll get, okay, now I see why between 25 and 250,000 is the sweet spot. That's the spot we want to look at in winning our first few contracts. And then after we get a little traction, we move on to something else. So my goal is to get you on and off in about 30, 40 minutes at the most, telling you several things that you can understand. Now I'm going to give you the high level. And if you want more information, you can go to the eye level. The eye level is a lot more of the details, the nitty gritty. So I'm going to share with you that first, it is not a sprint. One of the things that you have to have patience with in government is it's a process, which means we have to have A done before we can go to B, and B done before we can go to C. We can't go to A to D. And that's the key. But it's also nice because most people are going to try to go to A to D. If you go A, B, C, you're going to be ahead of most people. And I'm going to give you a lot of things that's going to put you ahead of them in the beginning all the way. So thanks again. I am your host, Mrs. M. Thank you for joining me to our GovCon Lunch and Learn. This is the free weekly training that I do. Students are welcome to join, whether you're in my workshop or not, or you're visiting me from YouTube or Facebook. This is what I do to get you thinking. Now, we've just entered into quarter number 3. So I'm going to tell you from the beginning how it works so you can get a big picture of the whole pieces. And then we're going to talk about why the third, fourth quarter are really good for us, small businesses. So I'm going to talk a little slowly or slower so I can make sure you get everything. And for anyone that's interested in more than just the high level, that means you want more details, I'll give you a way to join me and some of my students in understanding the eye level, the more detail, okay? And I'll give you that towards the end. So the first thing I want you to understand, and I tell a lot of people that, is yes, you do need certs. Certifications are what we need. Every large business that I've ever seen that is making serious money, and when I'm talking serious, let's understand what the difference is. 250,000 is small money for government, but big money for us if we've never won a contract. As we start to grow our businesses, we want to look at getting to the 7 figures. So we want contracts that are a total value. That means if the contract is, that means if the contract is $1 million, the total value is $1 million. If the total value is 4 million, that's what the total value is. That means that every year, and most government contracts are at least 3 to 4 years, sometimes 5. So we want to start looking at a total value contract of 250. That could be a one-time project, or it could be where it is per year. So we just need to figure out what that is. Now, as you start growing, if you find yourself wanting to be here, which a lot of people do because it's really great money, but there are always pros and cons. So I'm going to run them down real quickly. One of the things about government is you have to have a little bit more patience than you do commercial, because once you start getting into the marketing and getting to know who and what, it takes a little bit longer to connect because it's a longer term relationship and there's more money at stake. Most of you are going to win more money with government contracts than you are in your commercial business. And it doesn't matter what industry it is, because I know I definitely did really, really well in commercial and in government. But eventually, if you want to stay in this market, you want to get at least a state certification. All certs are free, but people will do them for you because they are very time consuming. So you can do a woman-owned small business in your state level. They're going to be like minority business enterprise, woman business enterprise, veteran business enterprise. They're like business enterprise. So they're like VBE, WBE, the N and E's for enterprise. The federal level is for a woman-owned small business, a veteran disabled, hub zone, that depends on your neighborhood, and then 8A. Those are the areas for federal and state. So if you're going to be here for longer than about a year and you start liking this and liking the money that you make, I would highly suggest to get out of the area of everyone else. One of the things that's going to set you apart a little bit is a cert. Why do I just say a little bit? Because a lot of people get a cert and they think that's all they need. I've got a certification, now all the money's going to roll in, and that's not true. What the certification does on the state level is what they do is they give you points. So if you have a state level cert, they may give you 20 points to bid on something in the state of Maryland. So you're already 20 points ahead of someone. Or they may only allow you to bid if you have a state cert. Or if you're in the federal and you want to do federal contracts, you may only be able to bid if it's 8A or if it's a hub zone. So what it does, it sets it aside. That's what it does. So now instead of maybe 50 million people, you're only competing on that bid with 10 million people. Yes, go ahead, Ms. Boyd. You had a question. Go right ahead. Did you have a question for me?
I do. I'm sorry, I had it on mute. Hi. So I have been waiting on that cert for women-owned small business for at least 6, 7 months. So have you heard that the process usually take this long or longer? But I've been reaching back out and trying.
Well, you're one of my students, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have the answer. I have an actual email of someone that when I met with them, they said, we can send you directly them if it's been over 90 days. So shoot us an email and I will give you that subject line and the exact email to send it to him. He is the one that approves all the woman-owned small businesses. So he is ready to go. Yeah. So send us an email to our support at Crack the Gov Code email address, and we will have your information for you.
Thank you so very much.
You are so welcome. Anyone else, if you've been waiting for a while, the process can be a little arduous, but you normally when it's 6 or 7 months, they may just keep checking your email, because normally if it's 6 or 7 months, they may have slipped an email and you may not have noticed it. But definitely continue to email them. For our students, we have a special email address of the person that approves the one small business. So we do have certain things we only give our students. So all the rest of you that aren't students, just keep emailing them and you will eventually get, and I'll see if I can't maybe put on our Facebook group a phone number or something like that. So we understand that our certs are important. Okay, now, can I win without a cert? Absolutely. You absolutely can win a contract without a cert. It's just that as you start doing this longer, I did send an email. I would do it again. Still waiting. Okay, Gail. Yeah, send it to the gentleman that we gave you and definitely continue to follow up until you bug them. So resend it again, Gail. Absolutely. Make sure that I always say persistence is the key. In government, I'm telling you, I was in the Air Force, which you'll find out in a second as we go along. But yes, persistence is the key and patience. Absolutely. So our students and clients have been so fortunate, including myself, to win over millions of dollars in contracts. This is a small amount, 15.5. We've been knocking it out the park. We have one that's went over 85 million and counting. And this is within the 2 weeks to 90 days. So everyone can stay focused and this can happen for everyone. Now, I'm going to give you some reasons why it happens for some and not others. This is a couple of case studies. If we have time, I'll share that with you. One of our students that's done really well is Isaiah. Isaiah landed his first contract without bidding. He did the middleman. The reason why Isaiah was really good, and I'm going to share with you why in a second. This is Bree. Bree also won a contract doing pooled contracts, which one is one of my favorite. And she started with us where you guys are at the free workshop. And then she moved to our paid workshop. And then she's one of our valued black belt members, which is our highest program that we have. But Bree focused on debris removal. And I'm going to share with you the pool contract so you can see what that looks like as well. So I love to share because one thing you will need to understand, government is relationships. Relationships. It doesn't mean that you have to have built the relationships for years. It means that you want to start connecting them because that's what it is. The more relationships, you build past performance. The more past performance, the higher the contracts. So we don't want to stay in that 250 all the time. We want to start there. We want to eventually get to the 6 figures and beyond and maybe sneak up to the 7 figures, but we have to start somewhere. So we're going to focus on that sweet spot I'm talking about. But this is my conference. I have it every year. This is us learning. I do one paid conference and one free. All of my students get to come for free. And I do the free one normally in the month of September for my students because we want to get it in before that last quarter. More people win government contracts the last week of September for small businesses almost any other time because it is true the government does not get the same budget if they do not spend all the money. So they want to make sure that they don't just go willy-nilly, but they are spending money on projects that, just like us, when we get our money, we spend it on our mortgage, our car, our child's daycare, whatever it is. And then we start looking at our discretionary and fun money and all that. Well, that's what the government does. They start looking at what supplies do they want to buy, what projects do they want to work on, because now they've gotten all the big projects out the way in quarter 1 and 2. So remember, quarter 3 started April 1st and goes to June 30th. Quarter 4 starts July 1st and ends September 30th. So you understand that. This is us still smiling, eating, and having a good time. And this is in my office, learning and just getting it in. Now, the young lady here in the red and the young lady bending down are the ones that won the $85 million contract. Total value, I think it's like 5 years. So they are doing it. And they were in our class in September and they won the contract. I think it was like in February. So they are doing really, really well. And that wasn't the first one. That was about the second one they won. So let's understand what the requirements are. For anyone that stays to the end, you will receive an outline of a capability statement that actually wins contracts. This is for anyone that's tired of working their 9 to 5. You have a business, but you're not making any money, or you want to add government contracts and understand the average person wins between 18 and 36 months. Why so long? Because of things they don't do, which I'm going to share with you, things you can do. So my promise is to make it make sense, focusing on expiring contracts, products, and disaster relief. Okay. This is my formula that has won me millions of contracts, $1 million in contracts, and my students. And so I want you to make sure that you pay attention to this. And those Students that are with me, you're going to hear this over and over again. OBART, offer. What is it that you want to sell the government? If you're not sure, you're going to go to naxcode.com before you can enter into the government space. You have to know what you're offering. Buyer, who is buying what you're selling? How do you find them? How do you get to know who is buying what you're selling? A for avenue, how do you want to win that contract? R is for relationship building, and T is for teaming partners. This is something I use over and over and over again, and it worked for me. And it is very simple but complex at the same time. Works for any industry over and over. Now, for those of you that have been in business and those who are just starting business, there's one thing you want to know. Once you learn how something works, you can do it again and again and again. And it's called a system. That means you set a system up in place where it can be predictable and repeatable. You can just plug and it works, plug and it works. That's why you want to get a system in whatever you're doing. And we know that when we're running our home, whatever we're doing, a system works. So that's the same way it is with this. So the first thing that the system we want to focus on is being focused. As you focus inward, you'd be surprised how busy you get when it comes to making money. The further out you are is when you're making over 6 figures. Until then, focus and be really focused with no more than 3. Once you're making 6 figures, you might be able to move up to 5 to 6. NAICS codes is what the government uses to actually translate in their terms what is the offer. So O for offer starts right here. No more than 3. And you can even try and find a NAICS code that encompasses a lot of different services, like I did with facility support. So facility support services was one of mine. We did staffing and pest control and all kinds of things when it came to facility support. So first rule of thumb, no more than 3 NAICS codes. Second, focus on smaller agencies. I'll share that with you in a minute. Then we want to look at my 6 Ps. We're going to focus on the preparedness, the positioning, and the proposal. Once you get those in place, you have to be concerned about the performance, partnering with other people, and the profits. You want to make money. But we're going to look at the first 3. Now, the reason why I like to share my story is we want to have street cred. We want people to know that we've been where they are, just like you, probably with no team, starting out wanting to do this, but having 5 different things and not understanding it. So a little bit about me. I was in the Air Force and I was in for 12 years, got out with an honorable discharge, and I ended up moving to Atlanta, Georgia, opening a boutique. This is me in there concentrating on getting my clothes and everything together. And then I realized one thing. The money that I was making wasn't the profit that I was looking for. I wanted to be able to have a viable business where I didn't have to mind the store myself. I was able to have enough money for employees to work for me. And that wasn't the case with the boutique because it was something people wanted, not needed. The government is recession proof. They need us, and we have a solution for them. They have problems. We have a solution for them. That's where you get paid. The more problems you can solve, the more money you make, period. That's the way it is. Whether it's entertainment, you're solving a problem, you're entertaining people, or whether it's education, you're solving a problem. So either way, it's something people need. So once I realized that, I then started I started setting up my business system that allowed me to have employees, and I was able to leverage it. And then I moved into government. So I've worked with over 25 government agencies, and I've had over 30 NAICS codes, and I've been doing this since 1997. Now I started doing the actual teaching, I think it was in 2008. But 1997 was when I started doing this. So it's been a long, enjoyable ride. So now we want to understand what you need to do. You need to get positioned. So what does it mean when we get positioned? That means that we position our company so that, let's move this up here, so that we can get found. And one of the things you want to do when you're getting positioned is understanding the way you position your company from April to September, which we're in now, is different than October to March. So we're going to focus on April to September because that's when the money's coming in. All right. What do we need to do to get positioned? Well, the first thing you need to do is decide if you're going to do your cage code or if you're trying to get this together. Okay. Decide if you want to do your cage code for federal or if you want to do state. So once you know what you want to offer, if you don't have a cage code, that's the code that you have for the government in order to have vetted you and say you're ready to enter into their database, which I'll share the screen with you in a second. If you want to do that, then there's steps you have to take. If you want to do state, I'll share with you what you need to do. So whether you want to do state contracts or federal, I mainly focus on federal, but I will share with you what you can do for state. You need to be positioned. So I was able to get positioned to work with Veteran Affairs, GSA, and Department of Homeland Security. And what I did to get positioned, I'm going to share with you. So this is me in Atlanta, enjoying teaching, laughing, all of that. I have live workshops as well, like I showed you guys. And this is me doing one of the larger workshops, about 300 people. And we were in Atlanta, Georgia, basically in Stockbridge. So we're outside. But for those of you in the ATL area, we know where Stockbridge is. So what do you need to do to enter into the realm of getting started? Well, the first thing you need to do is to come here and obtain your EIN number, your employee identification number. That's where you must start, with a physical address. Then you need to register with your state. We have several locations, so we did what we call a foreign entity. That means we have businesses in Florida and in the Maryland, Virginia area. So you want to then register with your state. Then you want to come to sam.gov. Sam.gov is one of my favorite places. I'm going to share with you how to find contracts on SAM, how to make it work for you. Anyone can complete a SAM, but are you completing it correctly? So I'm giving you the high level, not the eye level. Eye level, I go into the details of what, but I'm going to give you some 2 or 3 things on the high level. One, you want to make sure, if possible, that you're able to accept merchant credit cards. Very important. A merchant card, a merchant account is what you want to set up so you can accept government credit cards. A P card is what they call a purchase card. And the purchase cards are sweet spots because when the government starts to trickle down to the fourth quarter, they're going to have smaller and smaller projects they want to pay with a credit card. They may not want to do an ACH deposit. Also, I know people that work on a monthly basis doing various jobs for the government, and they get paid monthly with this debit card or this credit card. The great thing is you get paid quickly and you have the money in your account within a short period of time. But you need to have a merchant account. And also in your SAM, it will ask you, do you accept government credit cards? And you want to answer yes once you set up that merchant. You can do it through your bank or through QuickBooks, not through PayPal or Stripe or any of those. Just QuickBooks and your bank are the only 2 that I know of. Okay. SAM.gov, we're going to come back and visit, but this is the database where you're going to go in and get your UEI. You're going to go in and receive your cage code, which is a 5-character that says, welcome world, I am ready to get started. So that's what you want to look for and get started with sam.gov. Now, the next thing we want to do is understand, once we have our SAM, we can do federal contracts. What else do we need? Well, we're going to come right here and look at some other things we need. The other thing I would suggest you have is your good old capability statement. Your capability statement is just that. It lets you know what you're capable of doing. Now, I'm giving you the high level. With my students, we're going to learn how to fill it in. What you're looking at now are the headings. You need to have your company name up there, your phone number, your email, your website. You need to have a contact person. Then you're going to put your corporate overview. I should be able to see what you do in one paragraph, in a small paragraph in your corporate overview. Past performance, we're going to talk about if you don't have any. And the meat of this is your differentiator. What problem are you going to solve for what agency? That means you need to figure out who your buyer is. How do I know who my buyer is? Well, we come right here and we go to good old USA spending. USA spending is where you find who's buying what. Now I'm giving you the high level, not the eye level, because you can come here and find a whole lot of things. You can find contracts under $1 million. Contracts, they usually start under $1 million and go any lower than that. You can find who's buying what. This is a great place. So now we know we're offering, let's say we're offering cybersecurity or facility support or nursing. We're going to come right here and put in the keyword. So just to keep it quick, we're going to put in security guards, and we're going to put in who is the number one buyer for security guards, and we're going to put in fiscal year 2023 because there may not be enough data for 2024. Then we're going to hit submit. Then we're going to hit categories, and it's going to let us know who is our bigger buyer. So if you want to know what you're offering, you've got that checked off. Then you want to know, oh, okay, it says an error has occurred. Let's see what's going on here. Then you want to know, let's come here again. Should come right up. So sometimes these things will act a little crazy. So we're going to go right back to it and come right here. So we're going to go back to usaspending.gov because that is where we want to find out who's buying what we have. So we're going to go to the keyword and we're going to put in, we'll go with this one. We'll go with security guard. We're going to stick with that and see what happens. So maybe I didn't spell it right. Security guards. Okay. And we're going to enter. And then we're going to go down to the fiscal year 2023. And then we're going to hit submit and we'll see what happens. And we're going to see what comes up here. So it's gathering the data. Now, like I said, O is for offer, B is for buyer. We're waiting to see who our buyer is. And then we've got 2 of the pieces on our formula figured out. So it's taken a little bit of time. Hopefully it comes up. We may have to go on and then come back. But what we're looking for is who is buying the most when it comes to security guards. And I've done this millions of times and it will come up. But today it's taken a little bit of time. Something went wrong while gathering your data. So it's on their end. We're going to come back and see what's going on. But something's going on with that. Wondering why and not. Well, we just got started in 2024. So you want to go a little bit beyond to see what was going on. 2024, we're just into 2024. But 2023 would give us more information. So we're going to try this one more time. That's why you want more data that you can deal with. We're going to try it one more time here. And this time we'll go with, let's go with nursing. Nursing services. And we've got 2023 there. And let's see what happens. Let's do submit. And let's see if it, maybe before we end our lunch and learn, it will come up. But 2024, we're in it now. We want to look at 2023 because we want to look over the previous quarters. The whole point of this exercise is to see who's buying what you have, look over the previous quarter of the last year, so you'll be able to see when you want to really focus on marketing and really building the relationships with those buyers. And when it gathers the data, it does just that. It will come up and it will let you know that this is what year you're buying. So I never go beyond 1 year, which is last year, and it's still doing it. Yeah, it's still doing it. So something's going on. So we're going to come back because we're going to try that again, but just not now. Let's say, for instance, it says that the Department of Health and Human Services or Department of Defense is our number one buyer. Just remember, O is for what you're offering, B is for your buyer. Once you know who your buyer is, if you want to do disaster relief. So people always ask me, well, Miss M, is there a NAICS code for disaster relief? No, there isn't. Any industry can do disaster relief. That means you're providing your services during a disaster. Department of Homeland Security is one of the faves of small businesses. That means they work with us a lot. So does the Department of Navy. So does the Department of Army. And so does the Department of, which my other favorite, Navy, Army, Department of Homeland Security, and Health and Human Services are some of the few that really work with small businesses, okay? Now, we're going to go back to the USspending.gov. Let's say we know Health and Human Services are our favorite, but we want to now figure out the A. The A in the formula is one of the trickiest because there's a lot of options, okay? More options, the harder it is to figure it out. So we're going to focus on the A for disaster relief, middleman, and dibs. So when we're looking at the A for disaster relief, we then need to come here to FEMA. Now, our students, we teach them what to put inside. So you guys are getting the high level, but you're going to come to the vendor profile form. You're going to fill it in, put all the pertinent information here, and it's even going to ask you, now you have to have your cage code for this. This is when you've already gone into SAM, put everything in, and received your cage code. Cannot do this without a federal cage code. Make sure you put a pretty good description, and your description could sort of be like your elevator pitch. So put that there for what are you going to provide. Then it asks, do you do government purchase cards? Why does it ask that? Because FEMA during disasters use a lot of quick money with the purchase cards. So they're asking because they may want to pay you because what you're looking to do might be $8,000. They don't want to go through a whole process of ACH deposit. So they may come this way. And then you're going to come down to the end and hit submit. Now, the other good thing you can look at is if you've got something that they're interested in, guess what they're going to do? They're going to send you a reply saying, hey, we received your information. We think we can work with you, and you might want to try some other ways that you can work with us. Another way you can work with FEMA is to come to doing business with FEMA. And then you're going to scroll down to the bottom and look at this list right here. These are other things you can do. We did office supplies, shredded bins. We did portable toilets, temporary labor, janitorial. We did a lot of things. So this is the list called commonly used sheltering items. And this is where you're going to come in, you're going to email them, and this is where you're going to put why FEMA should use you. So this is where you have to come up with that differentiator that I talked to you about, giving you the high level, not the eye level. With my students, we spend a lot of time, and you can do this as well, figuring out based on what you want to offer. You need to be competitive. How do you do this? You go to, and I'll share with you where exactly to go, which is going to be here. Now, this is one of the main websites that the government buyer uses to find you. It's the DSBS website, Dynamic Small Business Search. Only small businesses can have a profile with the DSBS because it's a part of SBA, which is Small Business Administration. Now, if you want to know if you have a DSBS profile, you're simply going to come down here to where it says searching for a specific profile. Now let's put my contracting buyer hat on or my government buyer hat on. And I know that quarter 3 and 4 are coming up and I work for, let's say, GSA. Let's say I work for General Service Administration or Department of Justice, just one of the government buyers. I've already spent the big money in quarter 1 and 2. The reason why a lot of government buyers like going this route, meaning that the no bid for under a certain amount, is because when they do the bid, they have to fill out what they call procurement requirement package, a PRP, and it is arduous. There's all kinds of bits and pieces, and they have to fill it out, and they have to do this, and they have to do that, and they have to put it all together, and it takes a lot of time. So if they can find a project that may be a landscaping, or it might be a roofing job, or it could be carpet, they want to go to you, small businesses, without bidding because they can do that for under $250. Those bids don't require a lot. Anything over $250 does. That's why we start with $250. You can justify it without having a past performance. You can say that, maybe you've seen someone's commercial, maybe their commercial work and you feel comfortable. But as a government buyer, you're still gonna have to justify it, but I've not seen a lot of them not go with the government buyer that justifies working with you for a bid of 150,000 or 225,000. It starts to become where they have to justify it and then they have to send it out to actually make sure it's approved when it's over a certain amount, which is over 250. That's the norm. Everything has an exception, but that's the norm. So if you want to know if you're in here, and let's say now I have these things I need done, I'm going to either go to look for a specific cage code. Why would I do that? Because I met you at an industry day. I met you at an event. and you really wooed me. And so now I want to see all about you. Or if I don't know anyone particular that I'm looking for, I'm just going to come here and I'm going to go by where and what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for someone in Washington, D.C., where I live. I'm not going to look for anyone that has a cert. I'm not going to look and see if they have any self-certifications, which we all should have at least a small business self-cert. All of your small businesses, if your annual revenue is under 22 million, in most industries, that's where it is. Anything under there is considered a small business. I'm going to then come here and I can do one or two things. I can look for a specific nature of business or keywords. So I'm going to come and put in for a specific nature of business. And then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. I'm not going to look for anyone that accepts credit cards because I don't want to narrow my search too much. And then I'm going to come all the way to the bottom and hit use search criteria. Now, if you do not have a DSBS profile, you will not even come up for me to even be able to locate you. So there's two things you have to remember with government. You have to be visible and attractive. The attractive means when I come here, I'm going to look for certain keywords. So the first thing about your DSBS profile is you must have your capability narratives. That's like your paragraph. That's like your secret sauce. That is the stuff that makes me stop and say, you need to have that. And then you need keywords, two things. So let's say I'm looking for someone that looks like they've taken the time to fill in some information. So I might go with the executive personnel. I think I put in admin administrative. So I'm going to go with executive personnel services. And then I can see that they have a email address, a website, a phone number. I can scroll down here and I can look at everything I'm interested in looking at them, from their capability narrative, which is pretty good, to their keywords, which are really good, to their references. I can see the size of their contracts, when they started, when they're ended, all of that. So I can see that they've done 622,000, 200,000, 2 million annually. They've done some serious stuff. So then I've looked at all of this. Now, what if you don't have all of that? Well, if you stay in that 250, you're going to be pretty good. They're not looking for all this. These are multi-million-dollar players right here. So when you're in that 250 and I scroll down, I don't see any past performance, I'm not going to be alarmed because everyone needs to get their start somewhere. So if you have certain things I'm looking for, keywords to help me find you, I may give you an opportunity, even if you don't have any past performance, if I've vetted you in my own way. And I might vet you by doing the following things. I might come right here and I may go to your website. And right now it says their website cannot be connected. I don't know if it's a problem they're in or they're in, but you want to test it out every now and then to make sure, because that would make me feel like you might not be attractive. I'm not saying they're not, but I don't know because I can't get to them. So those are the things you want to look at. So remember, this is where I'm going to go to find small businesses to do a project where I don't want to put it out for bid. I've got the project on my desk. I need to do one in DC, one in Texas. I need one for transportation, one for nursing, all of those different things. This is where I'm going. Now, if you want to do the middleman, which we're going to talk about, let's say you don't want to self-perform. Self-perform means you do the work yourself or you have employees. Let's say you want to use a middleman. That's a subcontractor. You want to middleman it out. You want to subcontract it to someone to do the work. What does that mean? That means you're the prime and they're the sub. You're in the middle between them. You're in the middle and the government. You're the connector. You are the one that has the contract, which means what? You've got to vet them pretty well. You don't want someone to go on your contract and get disbarred because they breached the contract. So these are ways you can come and find subcontractors. Let's say you do a federal bid. All federal bids, you don't have to be registered for that state. You only have to be registered for the state if you do a state bid. So if I want to do a state bid in Texas, I need to either work with someone that has a business registered in the state of Texas, or I must do a federal bid, because federal bids, you do not have to be registered with that state. But that contracting officer may ask you, if you live in Maryland and you're doing a bid in South Carolina, how is that going to work? That's where you have to make sure that you have people that can do the work. So this is where you can come use DSBS to vet. Same way I did as I was mocking a government buyer by coming in and looking. It's the same way I would do that. Is the same way you can do it. You can find them, you can vet them. Now with our students, we give them certain questions to ask. You know, you're going to ask them questions that make you feel comfortable. We give like set questions to ask them, but you can think of questions to ask them, because if you find a contract, let's say FEMA reaches out to you and they tell you they want you to do a contract. One of the things you want to understand is when we come back to FEMA, there's 4 phases. I did work in the recovery phase. Each one of these phases, I'm giving you the high level, there's businesses that do different things. The majority of the small businesses find a lot of work in preparation and recovery. If you're looking at doing the response phase, that is when the danger is right there. It's like right in the middle. Everything is going on right there. That's when lives are the most at stake. So this is the most crucial level for responding. So you want to make sure if you sign up for a response that you're able to respond. You would sign up for that phase 3 in SAM. All the rest of them, you would make sure that you signed up, and they probably would also look for you in the FEMA, which I just shared with you guys. So that takes care of this. So let's recap. I want to offer for security guards during a disaster in the recovery phase. That means you might be a security guard for a government courthouse, or the government has declared an emergency and your security guard company for retail, they're looting. Any of those things could be during recovery or during response. So now you need to understand, if you want to do FEMA, which phase is a great phase for you. How do you figure that out? By your resources, financial and people. If it's just you, you might want to do debris pickup. I know people that have gotten contracts going to do debris pickup. If you have a team, you can choose. The second thing you just need to discern is, are you going to do it as self-perform? Are you going to do the middleman? So how do you find the contracts if you don't want to do disaster relief? Let's say you don't want to work for FEMA, but you want to do the middleman. With the A for avenue, that's where you want to figure out what avenue you're using to win contracts and focus on that. So if you want to do disaster relief, are you going to do the work, hire employees? Or are you going to get someone to do the middleman? If you're doing the middleman, you need to know how you're going to find them. One of the ways is DSBS. You can Google, but the key is to vet them well. That concludes the part for FEMA. Now let's look if we want to do the middleman that has nothing to do with FEMA. Then we can be proactive and reactive. If we are making sure we've done all we need to do, we're looking at being proactive, meaning you've got your DSBS check. You've got the right keywords. We give our students ways to find the keywords, and we work with them on how to set up their capability narrative. What you can do is view some of your competition, look at what they're saying, never copy, but learn. Do market research. Start to see who is doing what you're doing and what are they doing. And then start to learn that. You can learn it from DSBS. You can Google and get people that are working for government in your area. But the key is to make sure that you're able to do that. Once you understand that, and then we're going to come here and look for expiring contracts. So when you're looking for expiring contracts, it's going to be on FPDS. That's going to be your best friend, FPDS. So due to time, we're going to go very quickly. We're going to put once again in security guards. We hit enter. And we're looking for contracts that are getting ready to expire. So I'm going to put in one advanced selection, which is going to be the dollar amount. I'm looking for any contracts under $250,000. I'm going to hit search. Then I'm going to do another advance. I'm going to look for the time frame because we want upcoming expiring contracts. So we're going to come here. Wrong glasses. Going to come here, and we're going to go to, and these are all filters, but we're doing the high level, not the eye level, because we're going to learn this. Our students learn this, but you guys can take your time and come here. So I'm going to look for place of performance, state name. And I'm going to put down Florida. And it has to be in caps, and I'm going to hit search. So now my last thing is to find the dates. So I want to now find the date. Let's see, date signed. I'm going to put 23 till, let's go a little bit further. So I'm going to put in, let's go out a little bit and let's go with June and see what happens. In June, we'll go June 1st and hit search. So right now I have a filter of contracts, $250,000. Security guard is my industry in the state of Florida. I now have a list that I can work with. So now I'm going to come to view it. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for dates. I'm looking for dates that are going to show when this ends. Well, this one already ended in 2023. So this one would not be one I'm looking for, but I'm using this as an example. We can see that they had some kind of obligation. It was for $11,000. We can see what type of company it is. And then we can see when the work was performed, what type of work. And we can see here that this was for a service disabled veteran. They took 4 bids on it, and it was for a BPA, which is probably I think of like a blanket purchase agreement. Once we do that, we know then we're going to have a sheet of paper because we're starting to make our list. Is this a go or no go? Well, it ended in 2023. It didn't just end. If it had just ended, it would probably be a go. Because now I know that the veteran affairs, now I'd have to be a veteran if this is, you got to make sure that it's not a set aside. But what am I going to do now? My goal is to start now to work on the other part, which is the relationship. I want to build a relationship with people in veteran affairs or wherever it is that I want to get this contract. Now, if we can go back to USA Spending one more time, we're going to try it one more and see, we're going to cross our fingers and our toes and hope this thing's working. So we're going to go back to, let's go to security guards. We'll go with janitorial. I really wanted security guards. I just wanted that. I just had a thing for security guards today. So we'll try again. We'll try fiscal year. We'll just try fiscal year 2024. And we're going to hit submit. Oh, it's working. Okay. So let's put in 2023. And let's see what happens. So it must be something with 2023. Because, yeah, it's got to be something with 2023. So let's get rid of that. Because it worked perfectly in 2024. So it has to be something with the fiscal year 2023. So now we know it worked. So let's not play around with it. Let's go back. Let's get it out and go back to it and just focus on that one thing. Because this is where we want to find our buyers. And I want to give you an example of that before we get ready to wrap up. So let's just come here, put in security guards, put in fiscal year 2024 and hit search. Now let's go to categories. Let's go to our categories and see. The only thing you're trying to see is where it loads the data to tell you who your government buyers are. So if this doesn't work, that's where you're going to go. You're going to put in your industry, try to put in at least 2 or 3 years to get a taste of what agency is buying what you have. Once you know who your buyer is, you're then going to go to, when you're looking for the security guards, you come here. When you put in all the information, you can see over here, it gives you the departments. You can narrow this down by the department that's buying the most stuff, rank it in, and for department number 1 that bought the most, then number 2 that bought the next, and the number 3. So you can either do it this way, or you can put in the filters that I did. You can find that department and you can do the filters together. So if I'm looking for the Department of Homeland Security because I'm looking for FEMA contracts, that's who FEMA's under. There's like 15, I think there's 15 departments and around 438 agencies. So you need to know who's under what. But I would reach out to them. And then what is the last thing I'm going to do to build the relationship? I always go into LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my favorite place. Every one of you should have a LinkedIn because that's where all government is happening. So when I come to my LinkedIn, this is me. So please feel free to shout out to me right here. When I come to my LinkedIn, I am then going to start searching for people that are in that department that are buyers. So if my department is Department of Health and Human Services, I'm going to see who's in my LinkedIn network that may be a good fit. I can either decide to go to their LinkedIn page, to that particular agency's page, or I can look, because LinkedIn is by our location. I can look to see if there's anyone that looks like they'd be a good fit. Well, from what I'm looking at, this person would be a good fit. And so this is when you start to do what? You start to build that momentum by either emailing them, and this is what you want to do. Always look to serve before you look to receive. So you want to then become intelligent. One of the things with a lot of people is they don't know anything about the agency that they're hoping buys something from them, which isn't something you want to do. So if I'm looking for an agency that's going to buy what I have, I need to know all about that agency. So if I'm looking to work with, let's say, Department of Health, Homeland Security, I need to look at their budget. I need to see how much money they're spending. I need to know what are their problems. I understand what their strategic plan is. Where did they spend the most money? All of that, and then I'm going to go to their website. I'm going to go to Department of Homeland Security's website. This is how you get to know the areas. So then you can reach out to who? You can reach out to that person on LinkedIn and say, hey, I was reviewing your strategic plan, and I noticed that you were going to spend money more in the preparation area of disaster relief, and that's one of my areas. Or remember, if you're looking at doing the middleman, what leverage do you have with doing the middleman? You have to be good at getting the contracts. So if you're doing the middleman, people ask me all the time, what should I do the middleman in? If you don't have any previous experience, it depends on you. If you feel comfortable with doing cybersecurity and hiring everyone to do the work, but you know nothing about it, that depends on your area of comfort in dealing with things you don't know about. If not, stay in your lane. Stay with something you've done. Stay with something you know. Stay with something that you know someone that knows it, that you can go to them. Because if you're doing the middleman and you're going to DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search, or Google to find companies, you don't know them at all. So you've got to hope that they know enough to get you through that contract where they don't breach it, because that's your contract. So you might need to figure out, do I feel comfortable enough going outside my comfort zone to do something in the middleman? Because the middleman's purpose is for you to team up with someone else who has a past performance in something you don't. You may not have a past performance in cybersecurity, but someone else may, but maybe you're good at the contracts. Maybe you're good at the hunt and looking for the contracts. Maybe you're good at filling out the DSBS part. So when you ask, well, what should I put in the DSBS if I'm doing the middleman? Remember, no more than 3 NAICS codes. Find a NAICS code that you're going to middleman, and that is what should be in your DSBS. Now, SAM, you're only allowed to choose one primary. So you can have a primary, and let's see if I can grab this right here. But you can have a primary that has that, with, say, you're the primary, like that NAICS code's a primary, and then you could have underneath secondary NAICS codes. So you can choose to put in keywords that bring up just one NAICS code. You can choose keywords to bring up several of your NAICS codes. When you put in the DSBS, now when you're doing a capability statement, you can do 2 or 3 CAPE statements. You can do one that is for your primary. You can do one for a general. You can do one for a specific bid. But DSBS, there's just one profile and one SAM. You can't have 4 or 5 of those, which means you got to be creative. What do you want to make the most money in? So now we've covered, because we're getting ready to wrap up, and I'm going to give you that special thing I was going to give you. Now we're getting ready to wrap up. So we know FEMA, federal, must have cage code. Middleman, look for expiring contracts. There's a lot more that I did give you. I gave you the high level. There's a lot more eye level, but the gist of it is expiring contracts in your area. Then you need to connect the dots. Now you need to figure out, am I going to try to win with disaster relief? Am I going to look at doing middleman that has nothing to do with disaster relief? I just want a middleman contract. Or am I going to do middleman with disaster relief? And the last one is going to be dibs, which I'll share with you. Those are the 3 easier, quicker, fastest ways to win. The majority of what is expiring in FPDS is renewed 70%. If you know that agency and you know what they need, you can sound very intelligent when you contact someone on LinkedIn. But don't contact them and say, hey, I saw a bid, how do I win? That is not what you want to do. It sounds like you're looking to get before you're looking to give. Give them something, give them some information that you've taken your time to tell them, hey, I've recognized what your problem is, and I think I'm the great fit. That's where your differentiator comes in. How are you different from your competition that you've already researched? How are you different? Are you faster? Are you better? Can you do software program? Can you do an elevator repair? Can you save them money? That's where you connect because they're looking for you to solve a problem. The more problems, the more money. The last part is our dibs. Now, dibs is getting very, very, very particular, meaning if you log out too long or anything like that, they will shut you out. So you have to register for dibs. You have to have your cage code. The whole point of dibs is to bid. I'm going to share this with you. So let's say I want to bid on medical. I know what the medical code is. The whole gist of dibs to resell, because you're reselling, you're not manufacturing anything. So you have to find someone that's going to sell a product to you at a cost less than the government's looking to buy it so you can make a profit. That's where the work comes in dibs. It's very simple to come. You can find a bid by simply coming here and it downloads and you go straight there and boom, here's the actual bid. It's usually 24 pages all the time. The key is to see, is this something that has been recently purchased? And you come here and it has been. It was purchased in 2024. What is that, February 26, 2024? So that wasn't too long. This would be something I'd look at. Now, the key, I've got to find someone that can sell it to me. My favorite platform, and all my students, they get this. This is a paid platform. Dibs is free. The reason why people pay for platforms is speed and information. You might have to go to 5 places to get what you can get in one, but you're going to pay for it. This is a paid site that our students get access to, and you can do this as well. You can come here and you can see if you, because this is a premium, so it's like $75 a month. What they show you is low-hanging fruit. That means these are bids that are ready to be bid on. You can put in the part number. So let's say, for instance, I'm interested in this one and I want to learn their history because I want to purchase this. I hit history and it gives me a cheat sheet. It lets me know how many have been purchased, what price, and I can come here. Federal prison is the ones that purchased it. And I can find out, it's called Federal Prison Industry. Federal Prison Industry is a company that if I want to get that part, I've got to get it from them. They're suggesting that the DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, that's who DIBS is for. Everything or the majority of everything bought for DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, is through DIBS. So they're purchasing to supply it to DIBS. So you come here and you see that I can find William Banner. I've got his phone number. I've got this information. He's in DC and his phone number. If you go to Dibs, you're not going to find that. You have to Google it and you've got to try to find someone. This puts it all there. That's why you pay for it. So you can see all the information. There's 225,000 bid solicitations, and that totals $31 million. They're doing 3 and 4 million a month. I know people in my area in Virginia and places are doing $3 and $4 million a month in dibs every month. And they're not creating anything, they're just reselling. That's the key. You can do big money in dibs if you're manufacturing it. But if you're reselling it and you're doing that money, that's the thing. So the gentleman that created this, I know personally, his name is Tom. He comes to all our classes and teaches. And he created this platform. And what he did is he put in a reseller tool. So the reseller tool narrows down companies that will resell to you. And here's a list of them. There's 7,984 companies that will resell. That is a list. What does that let me know? I can go right onto the reseller tool because that cuts through all the chase and find a company that will resell to me. And that's what I'm looking for. So our students get access to this. You can come here. This particular reseller tool is $75 a month. They have a free version for 30 days, but it's basic. It doesn't give you You don't go straight to the cut to the chase to who can resell to me, because I don't care what you want to sell. If you can't get anyone to buy it, to sell it to you, because they're in competition with you. If they're selling directly to the government, they're not going to sell to you. So that's the key. Is that right there? Is being able to know what companies will resell to you and looking at what you can then move forward with the pricing and getting everything up. Now, I gave you the high level of dibs. You got to know how to ship it. You have to know how to bid. You have to know all of that. But that's where you come in and you work with it and you get to know it. Okay. Now, the last piece is this. There are people in the federal space that is looking at selling. Army. So what do you need? You need your CAPE statement. What else do you need? You need your cage code. What else do you need? You need a great introduction, your letterhead. Your introduction letter should introduce your company. It should tell them what you do, what you don't, hey, this is what we do. Never say what you don't do. We do this, we can do this, we can do it 50% faster. This is a sample of what you would send to a government buyer, to a person that you want to sub with. Subcontracting is great if you're just getting started, to sub from someone, but they want to know, hey, what can you offer me? I've got the contract. Why do I need you? You need to be able to tell them why. And there's a lot of ways to find subcontracting opportunities for sure. Now, the last piece is this. This is going on right now. So I'm going to help my students with this. So those of you that are not my students, I'm giving you this as well, but my students, hold tight. You guys are going to get this. This is where you're going to go to register. This is the Department of Army. It's called Aberdeen Proving Ground. They are looking for companies to be in their vendor database right now because they're looking to work with you. You have to have your cage code. You're going to go to this email, register right there, and you're going to go and finish the process. Okay? So you're just going to go to there and finish the process. And I want to give a shout out to Donald, who gave us this information. People like to make sure they team together. Okay? It's the company registration. It's going to look like this. Let's see. You're going to put in your company info, your small business tags, your capability statement, have a 24 version of it to upload your company capabilities, submit the form, agree to it, and you get the confirmation. They are on the chase, on the hunt. So if you've got any of that, that's why we always want to be prepared. My students, if you don't have it, no worries. We will work on that in module in our modules coming up. For those of you that aren't my students, get that stuff together like we talked about. Can you please send the link for the site? Oh, sure. You guys will get that. Gail, you're one of our students. All the rest of them that are on here, no worries. That's going to be in a package that you guys are going to get in just a couple of minutes. Okay. So you guys will have that. You've got access to the CAPE statements and all that. So no worries. You are set. Thank you. You're so welcome. All right. Now, I know we went through this rather quickly. There's a lot of opportunities out there. It's just a matter of what you want to do. You can do disaster relief. You can do DIBS. You can do the middleman. Choose what phase you want to do. Make sure you look for, these are your key players: small business programs, contracting reps, contracting officers, OSDBU. We actually have a list of the OSDBU right here for our students. You guys can Google and find the OSDBU. There's several of them, but we always compile information. You can do the same thing. So the key is to be connected and building those relationships. O is for offer, B is for buyer, A is for avenue. How do you want to win? R is for relationships. Start building it on LinkedIn. First give before you look into get. And T is for teaming up with other small businesses like ours and other small business contractors. Visit Facebook's, LinkedIn's, visit ours for sure, and start teaming up with people. So now I am going to go through this and wrap it up and get to this part. Hopefully, I gave you some ideas of some things that you thought government was not, pros, cons. I love it. So there's a lot more pros than cons. Just have to have patience a little bit. You don't have to have an experience. Everyone has a story. So someone just like you, whatever your story is, I worked a 9 to 5, Miss M. I've got 2 kids, Miss M. Whatever it is, someone before you has done it. So that means you can do it too. So this little bridge over here is the new bridge. You can think I can cross over and get started and add government to my business, start however you want to do that. I can do this in the night. I can do this in the morning. You can do government anytime. So you don't have to work, if you're doing a 9 to 5, you can do middleman. And middleman does have a lot of different layers. It's just not boom, find a contract, give it to someone. You got to make sure you vet them well. So like I said, I'm giving you high level, not eye level. I don't want you to think it's just that easy. There's a couple of steps to it, but you get the gist of it. You find the contract, you have to vet someone just like employees to do the work. The only difference is you've got to really vet them because they may be somewhere where you can't physically get there with the snap of a finger, as opposed to your employees might be right down the street from you. That's the difference in the middleman. And you do not want to mess that contract up because your name is on it. So for anyone that is interested in coming along with us and learning more, then I would love to offer you our disaster relief workshop. We tell you about the middleman, micro purchases, dibs, all of that. And our workshop is $297. We offer it normally for $397. And anyone that does our workshop and then wants to upgrade to any of our more advanced courses, we give you a 100% credit of the $297 to go towards that. So our disaster relief is on our school platform. You get 2 weeks on our bid platform. I'll share that with you. We have all kinds of testimonials where people have just done well. And like I said, it's $297. You get our school platform. You have a live coach that does one with you on. So you go on the school platform, that's self-perform. You do that by yourself, walks you through everything, teaches you how to get all registered for the things I've shared with you. And then you have a live. We do 2 live. That means we go over everything you've learned and we give you even more in our live. Any of our Crack the Gov Code students, you want to come here, you don't pay anything because you've already gotten to Crack the Gov Code. So you're welcome to do any of our lower classes as well. So you can go anywhere, okay? Because it's all in our academy. And you get 2 weeks of bidding, and it has over 1,000 daily bids. And you receive all this for $297, and we help you get positioned and so much more. So $297 for the next hour. Then it's on our website is $397, but we give you that for being here. So $297, it says 15 minutes. We give it to you for an hour. So right now it is 109. We would do it until 209. If anyone has any questions, you can definitely text or call 407-595-1598 if you have any questions. And I am going to put the link in the chat and see if anyone has any questions for me. So if you want to join us, here is our link to get all set up and paid, a one-time fee of $297. And these are the actual places where you get to go. This is what's included. So you can get an idea what's all included for that $297. So this is what's included. You receive and that's the link if you want to join us. The link is in the chat if you want to join us. And this is my phone number if you have any questions. 407-595-1598. That is it. All of my Crack the Gov Code students, you're going to get that entire page with the link and the steps. So you will receive that in short time. So we provide the DIBS training. We provide the middleman training. We help you get assisted with SAM. You have all these links that help you get started. And we have the capabilities. It's just a copy and paste. We help you review it. We have 2 lives a month. You can attend whatever live you want. So for the month of April, our next live is the 11th and the 25th. That's when our next live is. And you're on there. And these are all the things you receive. We help you with how to bid, all of that, how to set up your DSPS profile. All of that is what you receive is for the disaster relief. And this is our actual school platform that you would come and log into, and you are ready to go. You sign in, you get a sign-in code, you come in here, and you have access to our school platform. And this is the actual school hub right here. So it is our disaster relief. Let's see if we can't find that. It's right here. So it's our disaster relief one, which is here. And then I'm taking you behind the scenes, and this is it right here. So you would complete this on your own. And once you complete the workshop, this is the actual workshop right here. You complete all of this. This is self-paced. Take your time. Once you get here and you're ready to join me, that's considered day 3. And you have a link right here. You click the link, and then we do it live, and that's where we share finding a bid together as a class. And these are the 2 additional paid sites you get. This site is GovDirection, fantastic, shows you what's been awarded. So you might want to see if you can't win that bid next time. You can look for daily bids. Here's a list of all the bids that come in when they're due. They're listed by state. This is where you'd come if you don't want to do federal, but you want to do disaster relief. There's a disaster relief area right here. You can see where it says disaster relief. This is where you come. Remember, we're getting close to hurricane season, so it's going to be a lot of debris removal and all that that's listed right here. And there's lots and lots of opportunities. It's what, 50,000. So some of them are getting ready to expire soon, some not. The other thing you get is bid search. So bid search is a part of what you get for the 297, plus all the other things we listed. You get a template for sending emails to the LinkedIn to know what to say. You get a phone script to call them. And you also receive this. I forgot to share this with you. So you receive this. This is our list of over 2,000 small businesses that you would receive. Let's see if here it is. This is our small business Rolodex. So this is all of the names and all of the information for calling. You'll have a call log where you can actually say what you need to say. And these are all the phone numbers right here, email addresses, but you don't want to just call them with nothing to say. You want to make sure that you're working on what you need to say. So we have a phone script, an email script to make you feel comfortable. Some people are more comfortable with phone, some on email, exactly what to say. We give you all of that for one-time investment of $297. And the last piece is this, our bid search. So bid search is for only government contracts. You get this and the other one, GovDirection, for 2 weeks. All the other things we gave you, our school platform, and you are a student for life, which means you can come to any class as long as it's this one and anything underneath. We do have some other classes that we offer that special classes at no additional cost. So now you can ask me any questions on anything. It doesn't have to be related to this. It could be anything.
I have a question, Mrs. M. This is
Yes.
Demetria Lovett.
Hi, Demetria.
Hi. I have a question. I'm one of your students, one of your new students.
First, code. I know my students.
But I don't know if, 'cause remember I was having problems with email, so I
Yeah,
don't know how to
you were
log
the love.
into the
Okay.
right.
Okay, well, let's go right here. Let's find you. If you don't mind us
I
seeing you.
don't.
Okay, where are you going to go to sign in? And you're going to go to, so let's see if you're in here. These are where our students are. We're going to just simply find you. So we're going to put in your name. And there you are. So you were last seen on April 2nd at 7:56 p.m. So what we're going to do is hit your name right here. We can see you've had 3 visits. I can look at all you're doing there. And then I'm going to come here. I'm going to click there and I'm going to send you another welcome email. You'll go through that welcome email. So let me share with you what it will look like. So let me put my own name in here. So I'm going to go to my Gmail to make it fast. So if I put my own name in here, and it brings up my name because I have several different emails that I tested out. And if I come here and I send myself a welcome email, I'll share with you what it looks like. So then when I go to my Gmail, that email is going to be there. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my account. Let's see if I can find it. Bam. And here it is here. So I come here to my account and it's going to be right in the front. So then I know I can see, welcome to Crack the Gov Code. I click here and then I just enter there. You see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So we send that to you every Monday. And then also we're going to send you a link. Once you register, will you cover disaster relief only or other products as well? No, we cover disaster relief, middleman, and the DIBS. That's a part of the workshop. And we give you the bid platforms I just shared with you. What's the different classes you offers? Yes, we offer Crack the Gov Code. We offer a request for proposal class. We offer the workshop. And then our other classes are more advanced. They're by invite only. So we have the most basic class where you get the most bang for your money if you're just getting started and you're interested in disaster relief middleman, is the disaster relief workshop. For those individuals that are my Crack the Gov Code, first, it's the open enrollment's over. But let's say, what else do we offer? The other thing we offer is for you to be able to, we teach you so much more business plans. We teach you how to create your financial statements. That's what's different in the disaster relief that you don't get in the workshop. The workshop, we just focus only on those three things: how to find expiring contracts to position yourself to win when they're ready to renew them, how to do disaster relief, so how to get registered with FEMA and all of that. And we share with you how to do DIBS. That is what the workshop. The other ones focus on more business plans, financial statements, which a lot of people need, taxes, writing requests for quotes, how to get your certs. We walked you through all of that in that one class. So that's the one, that's our signature course. But the workshop gets you up and going. And if you do join the workshop, we don't open our doors again for the Crack the Gov Code until July. So we open it 3 times: November to get you ready for the new year, March, which is the beginning of the second quarter or the third quarter, which is now, and July. July, and this is really important for people that want to position themselves to win contracts, because the fourth quarter is the busiest. So if you're with me now in Crack the Gov Code, you're getting everything so you can slide into the fourth quarter, or whether you're doing the workshop, all of that gets you positioned, because in the fourth quarter, it goes fast. You saw all the things you need. They're needing people for that Army, that link that I just gave you guys. They're begging for people. A lot of people don't have their CAPE statement. A lot of people aren't prepared. They don't have their capability statement. They don't know what their narrative is. They don't know what their differentiator is. So you don't want to start that in quarter 4. You want to start that in quarter 3, which is now. So that's just my little.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Evelyn Dixon. I'm new. This is my first time. I want to say thank you to Gail Brown. I met her yesterday and we just kind of struck up a conversation about government bidding and Sam's number. And so she invited me to this. So thank you, Gail.
Oh, Gail,
Um,
that's so sweet.
So I kind of feel like starting over because I did everything like through Sam's, but I have to reactivate everything. So my question is, with me kind of starting over and having to reactivate everything, I have my cage number, I have all of that. The course that you are um, recommending or proposing, would that be something that could kind of help navigate me through that, or would I need to make sure that I have all of that in place before I kind of jump into this course, or maybe it's a little bit too advanced for where I'm at right now?
No, this is the lowest level course. So this
Okay.
takes you as if you don't have, this is for anyone that doesn't have their EIN number, and it takes them all the way up to where they have their cage code. And some people may have won one small contract, but they really want to know, they really focus on the middleman. They really want to do business in other states, and the middleman is the only way they're going to be able to do that. Or this is for someone that says, you know what, I think I want to learn how to do pooled contracts. So I am listed in the Miami-Dade area. Every county has pool contracts. You just have to find it. So one of the areas that I talk about is pool contracts. A pool contract you can do on a state level. That's why I'm sharing this with you. Call your county commissioner, find out where they put all their pool contracts. Every county has them. Their contracts that they know they're going to need people to do over and over. They pool all the vendors together. This is an actual contract. And this was for 3 million. I think there's like 14 vendors on here. You have all the different, this is for litter. This is for picking up debris around the beach. That's how the young lady Bree, she came with no, I think she just had her EIN, and she didn't even have her cage code. So she started out in her state until she got her cage code. And then she won her first contract for $1 million in South Carolina, doing what? Picking up litter along the beach. She won the whole thing. She didn't have any other people on there. I wouldn't suggest that, because unless you have a heavy payroll, you might not be able to do it. But this is for anyone. Now, Crack the Gov code, you can start there, but you definitely want to get up and going, because it moves fast. But this one is a great place to start if you want to get started. For someone that's, have their cage code, want to do FEMA, really want to concentrate on FEMA only. They want to either do it themselves or they want the middleman. It's a great place to start. And I feel for $297, it's definitely worth the value. We've seen people that the capability statement is $297. Those bid platforms by themselves are $200. So it's value definitely over close to 1,000, but we do it because, one, I love doing this, and two, I want people to be able to do and enjoy the lifestyle I've had, because government has changed my life. So that's the reason why we do it. Any other questions?
Thank you for that. So it's really focusing more on disaster relief. If you're interested in other things, would this
No,
help?
it's focused on 3 things. Okay. Disaster relief, the middleman. The middleman is any contract you want to win.
Okay, got
and
it.
you want to, so if you want to do the middleman, that means that you want to find a contract and do the work yourself. Let's say you don't want to do disaster relief. You don't want to do the middleman. You want to do what we call self-perform. So let's say you want to do a self-perform. That means that you go to the FPDS and you find an expiring contract. So it teaches you how to find expiring contracts. 70% of the contracts in FPDS are renewed. Oh my God, yes. They have more, probably cleaning contracts, construction contracts are easier to get. Software and things like that are more challenging. So they have plenty of cleaning contracts, they have all kinds of contracts. So one of the things that I'm very fortunate is I'm in Washington, D.C., so I get to talk to the contracting officers, and I get to find out, what do they really do? Is it hard to find a contract? Is it easier? In what industries? All industries are needed. The difference is, what problem can you solve? Do you sound like everyone else? That's where the money comes in. There's millions of companies in SAM. There's millions of people have a cage code, never won a contract. They've been in there for 3 years. The gentleman, Isaiah, had been in there for 3 years. He came to us. We showed him how to fill out his DSBS profile, and a contracting officer found him. That's his story. A contracting officer found him and reached out to him. So let me just share one thing with you. Let me come right here. For those of you that need to leave, go right ahead. For those of you that just want to hear of one more thing that we have that we share with you guys, is our resource vault. Our resource vault is this. So every one of our courses has a vault that you get access to, and it is in our Dropbox. And so what happens is, we have all kinds of testimonials. So like for you guys that are interested in doing the, let's see, where is it? If you're interested in doing the workshop, we have 2 or 3 years of workshops. So this is the workshop right here, for the workshop. But let's say you're interested in, let's come here. These are our testimonials. This is Darren. He won a middleman contract. These are our just a few of our video testimonials. This is Bree. That's the one that won the $1 million contract. This is Isaiah. Isaiah won a contract. So we'll go real quickly to Isaiah. And let's do the sound here, because you won't be able to hear it. Welcome. This is Mrs. M. I'm so glad to see you. We're all about reaching what?
So my name is Isaiah Swift, and the name of my company is Semra, SEMRA Cleaning Services, and I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, and where was this contract?
This contract was located in Norfolk, Virginia, actually the hometown I was born and raised.
Okay, yes. So what did you do? I know we're so fortunate to have you as one of our students. So that
Yeah,
is always a pleasure. We're so pleasant to work with. So give us a little background with how long you've been in business. What did you do as far as once you got registered in STAM? I know you took our course, you took step by step on getting registered with STAM. And then after
right.
that, give us a little breakdown of how you won that no bid, how the contracting officers found you, and what you did when you went to do the middleman, which is what you did because you're based in Charlotte and you did the contract in Norfolk. So tell us
Right.
a little bit about what you did.
So I started Simra Cleaning Services back in 2018,
Mhm.
and I wanted to go into a company that I knew was going to be recession proof and make money, throughout the year. And
Okay.
then I officially registered my business in sam.gov in 2020. So I was kind of already exposed to government contracting about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Then I found your Facebook group on Facebook, and I joined your group and I reached out to you and signed up for your course in December of 2022. And I
Okay.
took the course. It took me about maybe 2.5, 3 months. I finished everything up around late February, March, and went through your course. And I think the biggest factor for me was my business was registered in sam.gov initially the first year, but I did not have my SBSD profile. Did I say that right?
That DSBS profile. You're right.
Yes,
That's the
DSBS
one.
profile set up. I didn't have that set up correctly. So going through Miss M's course, that kind of really helped me double check on that, making sure I had my profile set up for contractors to see my company profile and information. So I think that was like a really important factor. So I received an email after everything went through with the registration process for Sam, maybe about 2 weeks later from a contracting officer saying that they had a contract for me if my company was interested in doing the job and completing the work.
And that is how it happened. They found him. He had been in SAM. He had his cage code, I think, for 3 years. He had been doing this since 2021. He came in. He's a teacher, so he took his time. When he finished, you can do it in 2 hours, but it took him a while because he's a teacher. When he did it, he ended up getting a contracting officer to reach out to him 2 weeks later. And that wasn't even in the buying season. That was in what, March? So it was starting the third quarter. So the third quarter starts the buying season and it really gets crazy in the fourth quarter. So yes, you can do it if you put the work in. He put the work in. Now he is getting ready to leave. He's won 7 contracts since then. And then we have, let's see. Thank you so much for the clarification. Oh, you are so welcome. And this was Miss Bree right here. So congratulations. I am so excited for our client, Bree. Bree was in our disaster relief workshop. She called me after seeing me on YouTube, and then she joined our other program, Crack the Gov Code, and our Black Belt. So Bree has just won a $1.1 million contract in the state of South Carolina, which is one of the things I've always said, doing pool contracts. And in how many weeks, Bree?
Just 3.5 weeks, maybe?
Yes, 3.5 weeks after she got started. So those are two now. Bree is an extreme rare case. Let's just be real. Most people aren't going to win $1 million contract. She's a rarity. She's an exception, not the rule. But Isaiah is the rule. It can happen. He won a contract. It wasn't extremely large. He's got his footing and he's since gone on. And neither one of them had what? Past performance. So what happens? Some people want it and they keep going after it and they get it. And we have tons of interviews with people that have done just that. So hopefully that answered your question. And
Quick
any other,
question.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, quick question for you.
Sure.
Isaiah and Bree, both of them, they were they're living in a different state while the contract was in a different state. So how would they able to provide the services to a different state where they don't reside?
Okay. How are you able to do it? Are you saying how are you able to do it logistically or how are you able to do it legally?
Practically, because
Well,
they are
practically
living.
means that I've done it all day, every day. That's when you do the middleman. So if you look
Okay.
if you come here and you come here to So Bree did it in South Carolina. That's where she lives, but she works a 9 to 5. So she didn't do any of the work. If you come here and I fast forward.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Mrs. M. I'm so glad to see you.
Faster.
We're all about reaching what? 6 figures. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. So what did you do, Sam? And then after
Right.
that, give us a little breakdown of how you won that Norfolk. So tell us
Right.
a little bit about what you did.
So I registered my business in sam.gov around late February, March, and going through Miss M's course, that kind of really helped for me. If my company was interested.
A lot of people want to know how did you find the company in Norfolk? Did you go on SAM or how'd you find them?
So I went online and I just researched, different companies in the area. And
Okay.
I think I looked at about 5, and then I called, and then from then I selected like the top 2 to 3.
Okay.
That's what he did.
So you did like a little interview with them. Okay.
Yeah, and that also helps because I was able to get different quotes from each company, and then that kind of helped me with my pricing strategy.
Good.
Okay.
That's what he did.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and I did that. I was in Florida and I was doing business in South Carolina. So that's the great thing about government. If I'm doing something in the state of Florida where one of my businesses are, then I have to be registered somewhere else to do it. This was a federal bid. And so I forget the agency. I think it was Oceanic, one of those weird ones, but they found him, called him, told him how much they were going to pay him, and then said, can you find someone? Do you want to do the work? As long as you get someone to do work. And that's why I interviewed and asked, how'd you find them? He could have gone on DSBS. He went through Google. We taught him how to do the vetting. He knew what to say. He sent them there. He's in Charlotte, and they went to Norfolk, took care of it. He got his money. He paid them, and the rest is history. He's done 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 contracts since then.
So as a third middleman.
Middleman is subcontracting. Everyone
Yeah.
says the middleman now in today's world. I've been doing this since 97. So it's subcontracting. You find a subcontractor. That's it. That's what middleman is. Middleman is just another word for a subcontractor. That's all it is.
So it's very important for a person or the company to be registered in DSBS so that they can be recognized.
Yeah, remember in the beginning, I said 2 things you want to be: visible and attractive. Attractive means you've got your website links are up. You've got your CAPE statement on your website. That makes you attractive. And visible means you have to be found. There's lots of government websites. One of the main one is DSBS. That's one of the main ones. That's where they go. That's where they went to find him. So this is an everyday occurrence that happens all the time. But you have to put the work on it and work in. I don't want anyone to think it's magic.
Makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Mrs. M.
Yes.
This is Marie Marshall.
Hi, Marie Marshall.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you so very much for this training.
You're so welcome.
Here's my question. I woke up this morning. I have never bidded on anything. I haven't even looked at sources, sought nothing. I just got started. And in Delaware has reached out to me for a mobile truck catering job. And I'm like, okay, I don't have a NAICS code for that. But the email said, I guess from the contracting officer, that nobody will do this.
Okay, and so it's one of those situations where they can't find anyone. Absolutely.
They can't find. Here's my question. I'm from Michigan. Do I need to register with the state of Delaware in order to pull this off?
You would have to be, if it's a state contract, you have to be registered in that state or work with someone that you trust where the contract's going to go in their name. Why do I say who you trust? Because the money's going to go to them. So let's say you would have to find a company that was in Delaware that the contract went under their name. They would have to be the primary and you would have to be the middleman because you're not registered. Or if it sounds good, you do like I did. I was in Florida. There was a lot of business in South Carolina. I registered in South Carolina. I have other people that do the same thing. They've registered in states because that's the state they plan on doing a lot of work with.
Now, would I have to have an address in Delaware? Or could I
Delaware is one of those weird places. It's not too far from where we are. Delaware is a strange state. Most times you're going to have some type of address. Now, normally the way you're doing government, you have to have a physical address. Normally with your state you do, but sometimes, notice I said sometimes, you can use a virtual address to register with your state. With SAM and federal, you can't. It's a address, but you may be able to find a virtual address where it's like a shared office space that they will allow you to register. You can't do it with a PO box. You can't register any state with a PO, but you would be able to. Yes.
So it has to be a virtual address with Delaware, not Michigan.
Right. You have to be registered with the state of Delaware.
Okay, I've never written a proposal. So would my letterhead, I have letterhead with my business logo on it. So would that be proper to write the solicitation? This is 66 pages. I don't know if I want to tackle this for my first one, but
yeah, that's a lot. But I mean, if you feel it's a learning curve, usually when you're doing a proposal, like we have an RFP template, and usually you're going to like, did they give you a letter of transmittal or a cover letter?
Well, they told me I have to have a cover letter.
Okay, you're going to either need a letter of transmittal or a cover letter. And so that's why I always tell people you want to try to have an RFP template, which our students in Crack the Gov Code, we don't do that in disaster relief, but we do it with Crack the Gov Code. You want to have a template ready. So yes, you're going to put on your letterhead, you're going to put a lot of information, and it is a lot involved. Just know it is, but you're going to answer questions. They're going to ask you why you think you're the person that should do it. And they may be a little bit more lenient because they need their backs up against the wall. But yes, that's where you're going to start.
I don't know the reason why I would be the person to do it. I have no idea how I would answer that. I have to April 29th to submit it. So I got some time to submit it, even if they say no, like you said, it's the learning curve.
I mean, they're not, I mean, it's a good exercise in learning because with proposals, there's, they may with proposals, they ask, there's a basic premise with RFPs, like we have a template. Some of those RFP templates cost $997 by themselves. So one of the things you guys can do is start doing some of your due diligence to see how much stuff really costs with government. Why is it so expensive? Because a lot of people make big money in government, but in the beginning, I try to understand that you're just starting out. But some RFP templates are $900 because sometimes you can win $538 on your first contract. We've had people that have done that. They won their first contract with $538,000. So yeah. Okay. Well,
thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Much success to you. My fingers are crossed for you. So anything else? All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap up. We've put the link in there. I'll put it in there one more time for anyone that may want to join us. It expires in a little bit as far as the pay, as far as the money the expiration is at 2/15. It goes up. So anyone that's interested, it's at the 297. Take care and have a fantastic day.
Have a good day now.
You too. Bye-bye.